Combat sports fans, welcome to another great edition of Strong Style. I'm your host, Jeremy the Impact York. Man, if we got so much to talk about tonight. Just finished recording our fabulous Wrestling Talk WWE Crown Jewel review. Me and Daniel go over all the stuff there. We go over our picks, why we think things happen. That was fantastic. So if you want a WWE talk, you're not going to get it tonight. You're going to get it next week. But we talked all about the pay-per-view. Go check that out. Tonight, we've got NXT, we've got TNA, we've got AEW, we've got UFC, talk a little PFL. And before we get started about the major announcement I want to make, I want to tell you guys that if you want to follow this show, you can go to YouTube and go to Impact, IMPACT underscore, the line at the bottom, remember, media, MEDIA, underscore again, Impact underscore media underscore, and you should find this channel. If you cannot follow any of the many links we have on social media, if you find the Impact 99, you should find this guy. And all those links should be there if you cannot find it strictly on YouTube. So many great things to get into tonight. I want to start with the major announcement. And this is a major announcement. This is something that you guys have spoken for one. And you guys want me to talk more about it because away from this show, you guys hear me talking about this particular organization a lot. I follow a lot of the fighters. I'm always following along, always trying to cover the biggest and best thing out. I think this is one of them. I think this is just beautiful what they have going. And that, of course, is Bare Knuckle FC. Bare Knuckle FC. That's knuckle sandwich. That's knuckle sandwich for sure. There are organized rules. This is not underground fight league. It's not what this is. No, there are actual rules to this, and it is just spectacular. And why would I be talking about BKFC besides the fact that it's awesome? How about on December the 6th, the Friday night, over the Gas South Arena, home of the Gladiators. We talk a lot of Gladiators here. A little bit of form. Over Gas South. BKFC is going to be here at Gas South Arena for BKFC 69. What's not to like? BKFC 69. What's not to like? We're going to get Richardson versus Larimore. And I'll be honest, because there's probably some BKFC people listening. And that's not why I'm doing this. I'm doing this because this is what we're talking about. Some of you, my audience, as great, as educated as you are on pro wrestling or on MMA, you're not as familiar with BKFC. First off, go to their website. All kinds of videos on social media through their website, their YouTube channel, Instagram, all the things there. You trust me, you'll find some fighters you like for sure. And you'll find some that you want to see them get their caboose stomped. It's great. Absolutely great how they do this. Don't know at what capacity we will be covering this event, but we are going to be covering this event and many more going forward. We're working out the details of that as well. But this is fun. This is gonna be a fun show for sure. Let's talk about, like I said, it's going to be the bantamweight main event. You are going to see Michael Larimore, who is 2-0-0. Now think about it. All right, let me throw this out here too. A lot of records. We're going to preview this later on down the road, closer to it. You know, maybe in the next couple of weeks. Maybe we'll have some other people on to talk about it either, regardless of what capacity we talk about this. But maybe we'll have some people on because there are some fun guests that I've been trying to find ways to get on this show, and this might just be the way to do it. All right, so when I tell you Michael Larimore is 2-0-0, you're like, oh, he just started in this. Well, there's a good chance he's an MMA fighter or a boxer or he's from some other martial arts discipline, and this is only the third fight that he's taken bare knuckle wise. He may fight all over the world doing judo and kickboxing and Krav Maga and whatever. I don't think you can actually compete in Krav Maga. That's it. Man, that's a fantastic martial art, by the way. But plus, he's only 26. So, Chance is kind of young in the sport anyway, but he's probably a fighter in another discipline. He is going to face Keith Richardson. What do we know about Keith Richardson? Like I said, I'm not going to dig deep into this. It's going to be a little bit later on because I want it to be closer to the event. I just want to kind of wet you guys with a little bit about this. Keith Richardson is 4-1-0, and actually his lone loss was his last fight against Alberto Blas. He beat Cody Jenkins. That's a surprise to me. Not that he beat Cody Jenkins. Cody Jenkins is a good fighter. At BKFC 42 in Greenville. My goodness. I'm gonna have to go back and watch that fight. So many good people in this card though. Like I said, we get Richardson versus Larimore. We get Elmore versus Finley. We get Manis versus Burgos. Not Shane Burgos. I think this is his brother. He looks a lot like Shane Burgos. I'm gonna have to look into that. Career versus Simpson. I'll be honest. There's one I am really looking forward to, and that's the women. The women are going to throw down. They always do on a BKFC. Paige Van Zandt has been in this before. A bunch of other MMA stars. It's awesome. It's so much fun. This one we're hoping to be there live because haven't been to a live fight night for BKFC. Been to PFL. Been to multiple other things, Olympic wrestling, and a lot of other things. I want to experience what this is going to be like. But Crystal Van Vyk, because I think that's how you say her name, because I know my South African, Afrikaans, he is going to face Emma Murray. And neither one of these women have fought a whole lot, but they're going to throw down. It might be fight of the night. I think so. And not just because it's the only female fight on here. I think that those two women are going to legitimately put on a show. Murray versus Van Vyk. Let's see. There was another fight I wanted to talk about. Where is it? We are going, and you can go to bkfc.com and it will tell you the entire card. And you can look into these guys, and I bet you're going to recognize some of them. I bet you are. Because that's what I did. When I first got into this sport a couple of years ago, it's amazing because a lot of times MMA fighters in between fights, or they can't get fights MMA wise, or maybe because of maybe a leg injury, or maybe a different thing, they can't get cleared to medically compete in MMA. You come bare knuckle box. There's boxing. It's not bare knuckle fighting. Bare knuckle boxing. There are organized rules. You can only have so much tape on your hand. It can only be in certain places. There are certain rules. Knockdowns, knockouts, those things happen. Here it is. Samuel Samples brings his 1-1 record against Mike Livingston. That's going to be a technical brawl. It's going to be absolutely amazing. Livingston yet to get his first win in bare knuckles. Maybe this is one here. But as I said, December the 6th, we are practically 30 days away. We are a little over 4 weeks away. 4 weeks from tomorrow. Yeah. 4 weeks. I had to do math real quick. 4 weeks from tomorrow, they will be at Gas South Arena. I can't wait. Absolutely can't wait. Like I said, we don't know at what capacity we are going to be covering this event, but we're going to be covering it one way or the other, and a bunch more going forward. So let's move from one discipline to another. That's going to be your new favorite. We know this is your current favorite discipline, and that is the UFC. UFC just had an event over the weekend. Had that pulled up. Not sure why it's not anymore, but producer Sassy's on top of it. We are going to talk UFC Fight Night Marino versus Albazi. This was in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Fantastic event. Main event did exactly what I thought it would do. Brandon Marino. I think I picked him. I think I'll have to go back on the show. You guys call me out if I didn't. Brandon Marino wins the unanimous decision. He absolutely won that fight. to win a fight, you got to win 60, 65, 70%, in my opinion. And I think very much 70% Brandon Moreno. Now, Amir Albazi did some good things, but man, you just can't count Brandon Moreno out. In the shocker to a lot of people, not to me, this is no knock on Rose Namajunas. What did I say? If Rose Namajunas steps into the octagon against Erin Blanchfield, I think Blanchfield can beat her. If Thug Rose steps in against Erin Blanchfield, I think that is a coin flip. And I felt like Rose Namajunas was in that fight. Just the same thing we say about Finn Balor. There's Finn Balor, and then there's the Demon. The Demon's a whole nother level. I think Thug Rose took the night off, and Rose Namajunas stepped in against Erin Blanchfield, and Erin Blanchfield made her pay. And she wins the unanimous decision. That's fantastic for Blanchfield, who moves up in the flyweight division. Rose is going to come back. She's going to just annihilate the next person she faces, I think. Hope she does. But I think she learned in this one that when you go against a quality opponent and a great opponent like Erin Blanchfield, you got to bring it. And if you try to step back and don't bring it, Erin Blanchfield's going to beat you. And she did. So congratulations to Erin Blanchfield. Brenson Ribeiro took on Kai Machado. I'm pretty sure I took Machado in this one. Split decision goes to Brenson Ribeiro. Thought this was a pretty solid fight. Split decision, right guy still won, in my opinion. Could have been unanimous, but right guy still won. One judge thought the other way, and that's fine. But I feel like they got the right one. Jasmine, I never say her name right. Jasudavicius took on Ariane De Silva, and Jasmine ends up with the submission win in that one. Quite nice. It was the dark choke she got De Silva with. And let's see, when was that? That was towards the end of the fight. I always times wrote down 2.5 minutes in round number 3. That is in the midway point. And Jasmine was able to get her. That's another flyweight. So would we get Blanchfield and Jasudavicius? Maybe. Maybe so. And then, last fight I'm going to talk about was Dustin Stolfoot against Marc-Andre Baralt. You would think Baralt, being the Canadian, would do pretty good, and instead he got caught by some Stolfoot punches that ended his night right at the end of round number 1. Really good fight. Hopefully you guys, watched a bunch of these on ESPN, ESPN Plus. It was really good. Shout out Mike Malott, who got a big win. Charles Air Jourdain, Yusuf Zalal, Alexander Romanov, and Jamie Lynn Orr. And gets the split decision over Ivana Petrovic in the opening contest. I thought it was a good opener. Sometimes you never know what you're going to get in an opener. Same thing with wrestling. I thought that it was fantastic. That moves us into UFC Fight Night. Neil Magny versus Carlos Pratis. I think it's Pratis. I'm going with Pratis. In the welterweight division, this is going to be at the Apex in Las Vegas. I think people are starting to like the idea of the way the UFC holds a lot of their events kind of at a home base like this. Have their big pay-per-views other places and keep your other ones as a home base. I think they're following a WWE type model as well, but look for that to happen a lot more. We're going to get Neil Magny versus Carlos Pratis. Pratis is a minus 850 favorite. Now, Magny at plus 500, if you want to throw some ducats down and maybe make a little bit of money in the chance that Magny catches him, and he can. Not a bad play. Not gonna tell you not to. But usually if somebody's a minus 850 favorite, don't bet on this one. Don't bet on this one because you're just not going to make any money. But that should be good. I think Carlos is going to win that one. I don't know that it goes the full, if it goes 5 rounds. I'm sure it doesn't go the full 5 rounds. It may not go the full 3. if it's only 3. I think it's 5 though. But if it does, it'll go just north of 3. And I think Carlos is going to put that one away, possibly submission. I don't know, something like that. Matchup number 2, the co-main event. Ricky Turquoise, I think it's how you say it. That's how we're going to say it. Versus Bernardo Sopaj. Sopaj is the favorite. I'll go Bernardo on that one. I think Ricky is good, but I think Bernardo is at the minus 370, plus 275 for Ricky. You want to maybe try to catch some points there. But I think Bernardo Sopaj is going to win that one. Unanimous decision. It's going to be 29-28. In matchup number 3, the return of Gerald Meerschaert at a plus 260 dog versus Renier de Ritter, the Frenchman, at a minus 340. I like Gerald Meerschaert in this one. I don't know a lot about Ritter. I know Ritter's pretty good, but I think the veteran in Meerschaert is on the top end of the card on purpose and not to be a feeder for Renier de Ritter. But give me Gerald Meerschaert at plus 260. And I feel good enough about that if I was so inclined to bet, I'd probably bet on this. I'd think about it. Fourth on the card, Luana Pinheiro going to take on Jillian Robertson. Robertson is a minus 425 favorite, a plus 315 dog for Luana. Ooh. I'll be honest, every time I bet against Jillian, he crushes me. Absolutely crushes me. So I'm purposely not going to bet on this one. I'm just not going to bet on this one. But if you were, I think Jillian is going to win. But if you want to throw down a few ducats on Pinheiro, not a bad play. Not a bad play. You never know. You never know. Something weird could happen. You know, it's fighting. And then matchup number 5, Monster Abdul Malik taking on Dusko Todorovic. Abdul Malik is a minus 425 favorite, and Todorovic is a plus 315. Yeah, this is tough. I know Mansour is a 6-0-0 to Dusko's 12-4-0. But man, I don't feel good about either picking this one. I think this one's going to be pretty one-sided for Mansour. Abdul Malik, I think he's the minus 425. I would not necessarily bet it, but I think he's going to go in away 29-28 this one, I don't think he's going to catch Dusko in anything. But other notable fight, Carolina Kowalkiewicz against Denise Gomes. You're going to get Matthew Selmasberger versus Charles Radke. Cody Stamen, ageless wonder Cody Stamen versus Damon Blackshear. That might still be undercard. I like Cody Stamen in that a little bit, and he's the dog, plus 230 dog. Put your money down. And it's going to open up with Claudia Segula versus Melissa Mullins, where I think Mullins is the slight favorite. And I'm not sure if she's out of the Molly camp or not, but I've seen Melissa Mullins somewhere. Don't know enough about her, but they're both 6-1, and those ladies are gonna really let the fist fly, and it's gonna be fantastic. Just so people know, the next PFL event is the PFL World Championship on November 29th. That is just a week before BKFC in, can't say Atlanta, let's say Duluth, in Duluth. And that is going to be in King Saud University Stadium in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia, man. Apparently a great place to have an event. WWE's been there. UFC's been there. They're going back. A bunch of people have been there lately. So, when they were a boxing match there not long ago? Fantastic time. Absolutely fantastic time to be in Saudi Arabia for an event. So let's talk a little NXT from last week. They opened up with the coffin match which was Tatum Paxley versus Wendy Chu. Of all the, I'm actually watching Wendy Chu on my screen right now here in the studio. Sassy and Sunshine have the AEW, or no, have TNA Wrestling on right now. This was such a different coffin match. I actually thoroughly enjoyed it. I felt like Paxley and Chu brought something different to this one, and different in a good way. I thought it was one of the better matches on the entire night, and they had some good ones. But the dollhouse, man, getting thrown through a dollhouse, one of those big, massive ones, those big, massive ones, was an interesting spot. And in the end, Wendy Chu finds herself in a coffin. Good job, Tatum Paxley. That's a great, solid win. Maybe that will propel her up the card a little bit. Wendy Chu's cool. She can go up or down. Wins or losses don't mean as much. I don't think she's at that good spot right now. So it'll be interesting to see what Chu moves on to next. And maybe Paxley can challenge for the North American title. I think her and Fallon Henley would put on a good match. But I thought that was fantastic. We had a moment where Lexus King, we had a moment where Bubba Ray and Trick kind of got together. That's going to lead to something later. Lexus King took on Dempsey for the cup, for the Heritage Cup. And Lexus needed somebody in his corner. And William Regal said, I'll do it. You need somebody solid, so I'll do it. And which was interesting because, once again, people who don't know, Dempsey is William Regal's kid. He looks like a young Regal. I don't know if you guys know that. But this was really, really good. It showed how good Dempsey is, and the fact that Lexus can actually be very technical. He's usually not very technical in the ring, but he was very technical in this aspect. And he come up just short against Dempsey, but there's no reason for him to lose the cup. Fantastic match, though. Really enjoyed it. It was good meeting Lexus a couple weeks ago at the Deep South event, and look forward to potentially running into him again very soon. We will talk more about that as it goes. We got to see Zarya debut against Friendly Reach. Friendly Reach was actually a good hand in the ring. Zarya, kind of reminds me of, she could have been on the show Vikings. Very, very good wrestler. Another signing that just kind of went under the radar because of Vakor and the others that they signed at the top. That Zarya can actually hold her own with all those ladies as well. She had a good debut. I think people are really gonna they're gonna really take to her pretty soon. We got to see Kalani Jordan versus Nikita Lyons. Of course, Kalani's going to win that. Nikita has just came back. I don't know. They haven't really found a place for her. Rizzo came out and had a little bit to say about it. So maybe Lyons and Rizzo are going to get into it. But I would much rather see Kalani Jordan and Rizzo, Adriana Rizzo, in a battle, because Nikita Lyons is a weird matchup for somebody like them. Up next was, like I said, Bubba and Trick paired off as Ethan and Rich Holland come down. I like the pairings of both of these. This led to a tag match that happened earlier this week. We will talk about that next week. Good to see Bubba Ray Dudley back in a WWE ring. And, of course, Tuesday night they were at the ECW ring. So that's the whole reason that you see all of the crossovers. I think a lot of ECW alumni, including Dawn Marie and Nunzio, were all in attendance. And just another ode to ECW that WWE is just saying, don't forget, they had a lot to do with us being here. Frazier and Axiom defended their titles against Cedric and Javon Evans. Wes Lee was involved. Ava and RVD were there as well. RVD, of course, showed up this Tuesday. But I think Wesley and Javon Evans could be a thing they try to do going forward. I'm also just Javon Evans is so new that sometimes he's not as crisp as he should be. And I think they should let him take a step back and get better before they start pushing him again. We go to AEW. Adam Cole versus Buddy Matthews was pretty good. Adam Cole, a lot of ring rust. That's what I'll say. Adam Cole, baby, needs to get it back going again. Buddy wore him out. It was a good match. Adam Cole, of course, wins, but Buddy Matthews said his piece, and Mr. Rhea Ripley there showed why he's one of the best that AEW has and why he's making a ton of money to not go back to WWE. In the end, the whole thing where he swapped out with Malachi was interesting. I don't know where Adam Cole and Malachi are going to play into each other, but I guess we'll see in the near future on that one. I like the evolution of Fletcher. Don Callis is going to help him out a little bit. Fletcher needs to be his own guy and not be the carbon copy of Will Ospreay. He was only going to get so far doing that. So I like him breaking away. I like Will Ospreay being the one to help him break away and being his big time opponent. Having Mark Davis come back, it looks like he's almost ready to get back in the ring, and it looks like that tag team's done because I don't think he's going to side with Fletcher. Maybe he does. But now we get one of the best tag teams in the last 10 years no longer together. So I want to see what Mark Davis ends up doing. Hope he doesn't get lost in the ether and pushed aside. But, of course, Mox and Saphir and all them come down and interrupt stuff. And until there's some sort of order in what they do and not a randomness, not really worth a lot of my time. Just want to say they did come out and attack people. We got to see the Young Bucks versus Private Party, where Private Party are your new AEW Tag Team Champions. They finally get a good run because, of course, if they didn't win, they were going to break them up. I really thought they were going to break them up. I didn't think the Young Bucks were going to lose, but they're going on a pretty good run right now. They're good enough to push those titles for a good while. It was good to see them win and the Young Bucks lose to a team worth losing to. Let's see. I think this week is what sets up between Penelope Ford and Jamie Hayter. I'm a big fan of both, so I look forward to that square off. But for now, they're just messing with each other back and forth and really stirring the pot. We got to see Chris Statlander defeat Camille in what was just a power fest. Monet seemed to get mad at Camille and sent her to the back as she attacked Statlander. Maybe they eventually put that wedge in between there, and maybe Monet finds her way into the back of a bread truck that doesn't unlock. Same thing I said on the last show. I think she's wore out her welcome already. They're just contract bound for at least another year with her, that they just can't do anything. Swerve took on Shelton Benjamin in just a ridiculously technical fight. The fact that Shelton is like 45 years old and wrestles like he's 25 is unreal. And then the biggest part of this was not just that Swerve won, it was that Bobby Lashley showed up. And we're going to get Lashley, Shelton, and MVP are the Hurt Syndicate, because about every other word for group was taken. So the Hurt Syndicate. And I think they'll add one more member before they're done, and it's not going to be Swerve or Nana. Pretty much the AEW stuff that happened there. TNA, we'll talk more about it as well next week as to what's going on now. But having Frankie Kazarian, Joe Hendry, Nick Nemeth, Moose, all of them battling for the title is something TNA has needed for a while. Joe Hendry is eventually going to be the world champion. I'm not sure. I said it last week. I'm not sure what JBL's role in all this is and why he attacked on Nemeth's behalf and put Hendry on the ground. But you know, it's making TNA really interesting again to a lot of people that don't watch TNA all the time. So I like that one of their leading storylines is about their world title. Most of the time it's not. What else was there? The team of Macklin EY and Gresham took on Josh Alexander and the good hand. Macklin ends up with the victory in that one. He's another one that I don't know why he's not in the world title picture. He could be number 5 of that group, but I guess you can only put so many people in it. But for now, it seems like him and Josh Alexander are locked in a battle, and these two will tear the entire arena up before they're done. Ash and Heather by Elegant going against Danny Luna and Jody Sweat. At least gives a fresh tag team to the women's tag division. I still think Jody Sweat and Danny Luna are the better tag team to have right now. It's not Alicia Edwards and Tasha Steele. It's none of them like that. I think their tag team is way better, and they should continue to let them run the division. And I moved to WoW, Women of Wrestling. They threw it for a curveball that now it looks like Holly Swag is got a little heelish thanks to her time with Lana Star, cleaning her house of all things. I guess you got to split the mother trucker somehow, but I don't know. It seemed like Jesse Jones kind of was pairing up with Mama Trucker, which could be. I mean, that's a good tag team, a good little tandem if they want to do that. But I guess Jesse Jones would have to be on the face side in order to make that balance out. Other than that, we saw a chink in the armor of Top Tier lose a tag match as Candy Crush and Gloria Glitter lost to the Dojo Defenders, a team they have really pushed here this season. Not sure what'll become of it, but team Top Tier there, Campanelli was not happy with the way that ended up. And they had Santana Garrett versus the Classmaster, and of course with Samantha Smart in her corner, the Classmaster, who has improved quite a bit in the last couple of years. She beat Santana Garrett, the former WoW champion, and will now get a match versus Beast in the next couple of weeks for the championship. So we'll have to stay tuned to see if Classmaster is one that will beat the Beast. I wouldn't think so, but then again, I wouldn't think Santana Garrett would get beat on television. So other than that, we've reached the end of the show. So appreciate all you guys tuning in to another great edition of Strong Style. I'm your host, Jeremy the Impact York. Remember, BKFC December 6th, right there in Gwinnett. It's going to be a fantastic event. Until next time, we'll see you guys down the road. Deuces, gooses. Go watch wrestling and go watch fighting.